All right, so what happened? Wait for a while. Sana all, relax lang kayo. Okay, sige. So, okay, shall we start? So this time we're going to discuss about GUI in Java. Okay, so let's start creating a class. So GUI means it's a graphical user interface. Though in other programming language now, uh, it would be easier to like what they call this one. Develop a UI, especially mga visual basic.net no and C#.net. Okay, and also in Java there is also another way to actually develop a UI, which is using JDesigner. Actually, it's when you upon installing NetBeans, actually it's built in. It's actually there, okay, built in once you install NetBeans. However, in Eclipse, you will need to set it up because it's from the external organization of Oracle. So it's not part of Java or something like a Java organization or the Oracle organization. So the only way for us to develop a graphical user interface is we'll need to install the add-in, which is from JDesigner. But since our course is about object-oriented programming, we're not going to do that. I mean, to do drag and drop. What we are going to do is so that we're able to appreciate the idea of object-oriented principles. So that and also you are able to see and appreciate things there. That's why is this encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism are important. It's because it is actually uh, applied or implemented in GUI in Java. So we'll start from scratch. We really do it like we are the one to design our UI. Okay, so starting from creating a frame as well as putting element to in front of frame. Okay, so this time let's start. Let's have here. Let's say we have here test uh, or my GUI. So let's have here my GUI, and then let's click on finish. Now, right here, so right here we have two options on how to develop GUI in Java. First is we do inheritance, while the other one is we do composition. So let's start with first muna the using composition. So to do that, so the composition as a review, composition is creating a relationship which is called as a has a relationship. Now we are able to create relationship or shall we call has a relationship in Java now between two classes or between or among the classes in our program. So this time we're going to create first a constructor of our class and let's name it I mean of course it's my GUI because that's the name of our class. And then after this one, we are going to declare. So we can declare it as private or actually we can declare it as public. So this time we are going to have here JFrame. So there. By the way, the swing components includes JFrame, JTextField, JOptionPane, and many more. No? So in fact, every time we declare, or this swing component or this swing library has actually list here of different UI components that we can add. No? So JOption pane, JFrame, JUpload, JButton, JCheckbox. So these things will be declared. So every time these things can be imported here. So every time you are going to use a component of that swing, you will need to import it right away. No, I mean you'll need to import it in your program before you can use it. So let's say for an instance we are going to have here like JFrame my frame. Okay. Now here we are going to instantiate our frame. So in Java, there are three steps in developing UI. No, three steps. Okay, so first is of course you have to go through number one. So first step is define the component. Okay, so define the UI component you would like to use. So in this case, we are going to use JFrame component. Now, next is um, instantiate it. So define or like draw the UI component. So by the moment you define or draw the UI, you'll need to declare it, and then after that instantiate the UI. So this one is the first step. This is the second step. So by defining it, you are now going to, of course, describes a property. Describe a property. Okay, so how are we going to describe property for our component is, of course, first we'll have to instantiate it. So you have JFrame, my frame is equal to new JFrame, right? So right after we are going to now describe, we are going to now call some properties of a JFrame. So the very basic property of a JFrame is now we are going to attach the property or assign property to our frame. Let's say my frame that set, okay, set, let's say set size. Okay, so as you can see, this, during our discussion, we have, in our previous discussion, we discussed about setter and getter. So actually, the the frame, the component, or every component in swing component, as you can see, it has setter and getter. So get, okay, set. So that's how object-oriented programming works. And most importantly, of course, there is in constructor here, JFrame. So if you are going to, call this one, the constructor of a frame, in order for you to instantiate it, you are able to actually what to have here an overloaded constructor. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are actually 6 constructors in JFrame. We can actually use the default one or the something that has title in it. So later on, I'm going to show you what's the difference between them. So first, but we'll need to understand first the setters. So again, it has setters and getters. So let's say we are going to set the title of our frame. So let's say this is my frame. Okay. Then after that, we are going to have here. We're going to also describe a property for our set title. Let's say set size. So set size, you have here the two overloaded methods that makes it polymorphic. So meaning the polymorphism is actually applied there. So there are already two uh, principles of OOP applied here. So first is the encapsulation, a frame or my frame as an encapsulated class. So since it is an encapsulated class, everything that is everything that's inside of that frame is already abstracted, meaning there's data abstraction. So the moment we use to set the property of a frame, we just need to call its methods, which are most likely the setters and the getters. So we have here two set size, which has one parameter is the other argument is dimension, while the other one is width and height. And we're going to choose width and height. Therefore, as a frame, it has two properties, width and height. So when a frame is created, or if we're going to reverse engineer my JFrame, it has already title, it has already a width and a height property. So just like sa water tank, we have property like capacity, height, and width of it, color, brand, something like that. So this time, our frame believed to be has properties like titles, width, and height. Now we are going to add width and height for our frame. So let's have the width is 500 and the height is, let's say, 400. So it's going to create 500 by 400 pixels of a window. Okay. Now next after that is we are going to call the set visible. So the set visible has property of like boolean, okay, which is boolean b, either true or false. If you want your JFrame to be shown or displayed in your program, you will need to make it like true. Otherwise, then therefore put there as an argument like false. Okay, and now we're actually good to go. So these are some basic properties of a frame. Okay, later I'm gonna show you other properties of a frame. That's step 2. And then of course, the step number 3, okay, or since there are three steps in developing GUI in Java, the third step is actually attach code to component. So when we attach code to component, this is now the logic. Okay. Usually algorithm. Usually, what would we like to do with that component? For now, we don't have that. We don't. We. I'm not go. For now, let's stick muna with the first and the second step, and then later on we'll have the third step. Okay? So, sige. Ang third step, i-leave sa nato na. Okay. Right, so this time, in order for us to call this JFrame thing, we'll just need to instantiate it here, like my GUI. In my GUI, let's say GUI is equal to new my GUI. Okay. So, ako na lang mag-type. Okay. Or simply do this. New my GUI. So you can either choose any of this one, either this one or this one. Okay. Of course, the good thing about this GUI something, let's say for an instance, you want to, sige later, I'm gonna show you. First is, let's have this one first muna. So you have my GUI equals new my GUI. So meaning you're calling the constructor of your my GUI, which is right here. So now let's run our program. So you have here the JFrame. All right. So this is my frame. So that's the caption, or that this one is actually the set title of your my frame. Okay. Now, how about since this one is like my GUI, we have an object of my GUI JFrame, you can actually call anything here. Let's say for an instance, you want to uh, so you want to what do we do? So with this GUI, okay, if ever you're going to instantiate it right here, you can actually use or call any property of your my frame, which is this time. Let's say for an instance, I'm going to have here an a method. Let's say public void um, set color, something like that. Okay, so I'll need to I'm going now to put here something like set my frame at okay get content pane at set background color let's say blue. So if I'm go since I have the GUI object here in main, so I can now have here let's say GUI set color. So in here, my frame would have the color background as like blue. Okay, so that's one of the advantages of having a UI. I mean having a what they call this one, a having instantiated your my GUI. Though this is this is like I mean this one is okay. Though okay na siya, we can also do like this one without actually instantiating an object. So meaning to say, when you have your UMI GUI, you can just call set color. So automatically without instantiating an object. But of course, I would advise you, I would advise everyone to follow this one. No, follow the this instantiating an object. But again, you can also do this one. All right. So uh, the only advantage with the two is that whenever you have another, let's say another method here, let's say uh, you want to do set size or assign a new size um, of your frame, and you want to assign like you want to assign for width and height. Let's say width and int height. Okay. So the disadvantage for, of course, the disadvantage for this one is you can only call one method at a time. So let's say for an instance, we are going to change the size of the by width and the height. So if you're going to use this one, so how are you going to call set size again? Like how are you going to call this one? So since you already have set color, so then tell me you are going to create my GUI that set size something. So see, that's something na I'm not going to advise to you, no. So in order for you to omit this kind of programming, especially if you want to call more methods inside of your class, might as well do this kind of programming. Okay, so let's say GUI dot at set size. So I'm going to now assign it like 1024 by 768. Okay, so if I'm going to run, so by the way, kasi nakaset pa tano, wait for a while. We're going to make this as, ayan. And then, let's have here, set visible say boolean b. Say true. So that's something that this is something you can actually do to your what they call this one frame. Now let's go back to our normal frame. Okay, so I have just shown you the different ways on how to call your constructors. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, let's have few components. I-quit sa natin yung uban. Okay, this is, as you can see, na at running frame behind sa background because meaning wala na to na we haven't told our compiler what to do after closing a frame. So there is something that you will need to know. Though this one is actually underrated. So we have a set default my frame that set default. So wait, set default close operation my frame that. Okay, so we have here do nothing on close. Okay, we have also here exit on close and then dispose on close. So if you're going to use do nothing on close, your frame will not be closed. So no matter how many times you click on the close, this one, this will not be closed because again, as you have told to your compiler, your frame will have this property do nothing on close. So if you're going to use exit on close, so let's say exit on close. Okay, so the exit and close thing is that it is going to exit. It will only exit the frame. However, it is not going to eradicate it from your RAM, meaning it's still there. It's still stored in your RAM, in your memory. The other property is, or the other attribute of this one is dispose and close. This one is good kasi if you're going to think of it na i-free niya ang space sa imong RAM, then you will use dispose and close. You will see the same sa exit and dispose and close. Only that i-free lang niya ang imuhang frame from imuhang RAM from storing any object of your frame. So that's the difference between dispose and exit and close. Okay, so we have also here. Wait lang. Napilasan siya? Okay, so my frame dot set location. So set location relative to null. This will position our frame at the center, at the center part of our frame. I mean here, no? So you can also call. So by the way, there's what we call my frame that's set background color, but this will not give color to our frame. Let's say, for an instance, we are going to put color here as like cyan. So this will not do anything, or this will not give color to our frame, only because actually this one right here, okay, kaning nakita nyo na white area sa frame, this is actually a content pane. And that content pane is behind it, okay, sa likod ana is na dito si frame. So, therefore, behind it is mao tong nakoloran og cyan, but not this content pane. So, in order for us to color this, to put color to that content pane, we'll need to call the get content pane. So, meaning to say, we'll need to call get content pane before we can actually change the background of our frame. So get content pane that set background color that, let's say, cyan. Okay, So right after you run your program, this will now give us like cyan. Okay. Okay. Another thing, if you want to uh, this one, the set extend state. The set extend state is giving you an option either make your frame to make your frame expand its size. Okay, so meaning to say this will give us like the horizontal maximization or maximize horizontal and maximize vertical. So when we talk about maximize horizontal, the width. When we talk about vertical, the height. So if you're going to have here maximize horizontal, and then we'll need to exit or comment this set size here. So wait for a while. Wala siya nag-operate because iuna sa nato si visible, iulahin nato si set visible. So horizontal. Oops, what happened? So maximize, try sa nato both. Ayan. So I don't know what happened with the horizontal or vertical thing, but we'll need to try this one out again. So probably because of let's have it here first. So it seems like it does not work. What happened? We have set low. Okay. Okay. Anyway, the both means it's going to expand. Relative siya on the screen, vertically and horizontally. If meaning both horizontal and vertical values must be extended. So whenever your screen has a resolution of 1024 by 768 or 1280 by whatever, or 1080 whatever pixels, so it's going to do the relative screen size, no? So mag-base siya sa imong screen size ang iyang pag-extend. So murag full screen siya. So that's the thing we can do for our frame. All right. So now this is a first way, which is using composition. So by the way, we can actually create another class for this. Let's say test GUI, and that's where your main is. So you can have, instead of you have here the main, you can actually remove the main there, and you go here in the test UI, and you just call the my GUI here. So the moment you run this one, of course, this will give us the same output. So if you're going to run this one, this will not give you, wait for a while, this will not give us anything here. So example, if I have here my GUI, and I'm going to run this code here. I mean this program. I don't have main, so meaning this will not give us anything. So instead, our main actually is here. So we can, in order for us to see the output of our UI, is you will need to go here in this particular class where your main is and where you actually call your instantiation of your GUI components. Now, this is the first one, which is composition, has a relationship, meaning this UI, what they call this one, this UI is, or my GUI class is, or has a frame. By the way, what is out? Out means abstract window toolkit. That is for color. So meaning that's a separate. That's another. library. Actually, Cout has also frame, but it doesn't have JFrame. So, I mean, ang swing components, J ang nakabutang. While Cout, frame lang ang nakabutang. So, mga karaan na siya ng mga components na nasa out. Okay? So, but still, we can still make use of them. Okay? Pwede nato siya i-combine sa itong codes. Now, this time, let's apply the inheritance principle in our program. Okay, in creating a frame. That's the second one. So by the way, again, as a frame, as encapsulated na class, we can take advantage of whatever methods they're in. So and it's available for us to be used. No, pwede na nato siya anytime matawag. So this time, let's have the inheritance concept. So inheritance is actually another way to create a frame. So for instance, you have here extends my JFrame. So this is inheritance. You have the child and you have the parent relationship. So anything that are in JFrame are also can be called by my GUI. So right after you call the JFrame through extends keyword, instead of instead of instantiating an object or declaring an object, you don't have to do that anymore. Okay, so I'll have here this one cut. Okay, i-cut ato na siya, and right here you just have to call set title. Ayan. So, by the way, we talk about set title, of course, that is a setter of a JFrame. This is what you can actually see in JFrame. So, this one is from JFrame. We just inherit it. We just actually override it. Okay, override. So, we just override it. So that's polymorphism also. So, this is uh, my frame. Okay, so you have here, okay, all you just need to do is remove the frame object because again, you already have JFrame as your, as in here, as it is actually inherited by your my GUI. Okay, so all the way down here, i-delete lang or i-remove lang nimong object. Okay, and right after that, okay, you run your program, this would give us the same output. Okay, Taran. Okay, that is through extends. Question? Any questions so far? Hello? Hello, guys. Hello, everyone.
Hello, sir.
Oh, question.
Reception naman.
Ha?
Reception
Nasabtan?
naman.
Okay, very good. Okay,
Yes.
see. Okay, very good. Now, let's have actually this color right here, pwede na to na siya we can use the we can actually use the katong RGB color. So I guess this one. So color RGB. This one is the red, green, blue. So up to 255 na siya ang value. So meaning if mag 255 ka and the rest will be like this is 0 and you don't put anything here, this will give us a full red color, no, full red kasi the first argument is red. Okay, you can have here, this one is red, green. This is if 255 ka, so this is like green color. Now, if of course you want this now, dili kay siya full green, you can have here 100 and this will give us this color. And you can actually combine the colors. So let's say what you have here 100 and 100 of green, 100 of green, red and green. So meaning if you're going to mix red and green, what is the resulting color? So the resulting color would be this one. So medyo avocado siya ang ihang color. Now, you can have the translucency or transparency of the color. So for instance, you want it na you have 90% or 80% translucency or something like medyo dili kay avocado yung color, you can actually put a translucency there. Okay. So example, you have 255 of red and then 0 of green and blue, but you have 80% translucency. This will give us like mura siya sa pani na ipagka-pink na basta lubad na red ang iyahang display. So and then again you can combine any colors right here. Okay? Basta ang value niya ana is up to 255 only per argument. And that's this one up to 100 lang di ay kaning alpha. Okay? All right. So this time, what we are going to do is we are now going to create another example. By the way, if you want this, or if you want to create a new version of your frame, let's say for instance, this is the also the good thing about inheritance now, because you can actually combine anything here. Let's say I want to create a method public void. Let's say maghimo lang tag another class. Another way no to to create a, so this is my frame. Okay, and I'm just going to create my frame here, another class, and then I'm going to extend it here. So JFrame, right? So this time I am going to create a class. So public void set let's say set a frame set GUI na lang. Okay? And let's say we want this na mag-ano siya og title for our frame. At the same time, the width of our frame, and then the height of our frame. Okay? So you want this na mag-ano siya set UI, set title. So of course, we're going to override the method. Okay? So polymorphism. So here, you just have to call set title. Okay? And then set size. Ayan. So you can actually override this one, overload. So let's say set UI, and then you want to, let's say, make it like visible. So let's say visibility. You will be the one to, so visibility. And then you can have here set visible. So you can actually make it Tagalog, you can make it Bisaya, depende sa imuhang trip, depende sa imuhang ano. So you have now the version of your own frame and you call it my JFrame. So by calling set GUI thing, okay, you can actually, let's say everything na to ang buhaton dili will be, let's say we will call this one, and then let's create a method here, public void set GUI. Okay, like set GUI that doesn't have any parameters. So what it does is it is going to give us everything, no? Like you don't set the title, width, and height, but you are the one who actually set it for for the person, or for the person who is going to call this my frame. But again, you can also, I mean, you can create any parameter here to set for the value here. But let's say, let's call this set GUI thing here. And instead of, okay, instead of we are going to call this my GUI in the test GUI, you can actually call here, uh, let's say my frame. So my frame is again is a class that is extending my frame, a JFrame, but this time you have your own methods that actually overridden the frame components or methods. So let's say my frame frame equals new my frame, and you just have to call frame that, let's say, set UI. So set UI, sorry, set GUIDI. So yeah, now you can assign a title, frame ni siya, okay, and you can have set size, let's say 800 by 600, and when you call it, this will give us oh, by the way, wala dahil visible, dapat mag-assign pa tayo isa ka visible, or you can simply do this frame that set visible, which is to true. Though we haven't created in our frame to set the visible or something like set visible. Again, it can be called since my frame is actually a J frame. So there is a relationship between my frame and a J frame, and that is a relationship. Meaning to say whatever is from the J frame capability is pwede po tawagon ni my frame. So meaning to say natawag yapon nato si set visible. Only that we have our own methods that one, which is wala man nato nahimo si set visible, i-apply na nato siya sa like here, no? Okay, and of course if you don't want to call set visible here, there's actually another method that we created, which is actually the second one kani na. So which is we have here visibility, like we assigned it to true, okay? And then when you run your program, this would give us the same output as we have earlier. And of course, if you're going to call the last set GUI, the last method, and it's giving you anything to in setting our JFrame, which is, as you can see, na siya may nani. So upon running this would give us the same output as we have in the my GUI. All right. So those are the different things that you can do in in creating GUI from scratch. No, you can always do like has a relationship or is a relationship through implementation of uh, inheritance. Okay, so now let's do or create actions to our frame. So let's get to design other components to our frame, and we're going to what they call this one, to create action events. So let's go to our my GUI, okay, right here, and we are going to have here, let's say JLabel. So JLabel is another component of swing. So if you don't want your swing components to actually declare component every time you want it, or every time na ano ka, you just have to make it like this one, asterisk. So put asterisk in that, makaano na kag multiple declarations, no? Meaning multiple classes na or encapsulated class imuhang ma-declare. So another thing is you'll need to follow naming conventions. This is important as a programmer, especially nag-start pa tag-learn. So naming conventions. Sa mga naming conventions, pag JLabel, so you will use LBL, JTextField, okay? You will use TXT. So pag mga buttons, or J button, you will need to use either BTN or CMD. And this would give us a parang same, we are able to speak the same language with others. So meaning to say, if you're going to, if that button particularly is for saving a file or record, so why not name it as like BTN save instead of button one, button two, button three. We should give meaningful names to our component as we give meaningful names to our child, to our dogs, or to our pets. Okay, so let's have your CLBL. Let's say we're going to add two numbers. So let's say we have here LBL num1, LBL num2. By the way, if you have questions, please ask me a question just in case. So we have J TextField, we have TXT num1, then we have TXT num2 here. And then we are also going to create J buttons. Okay, so J button, let's say BTN add and BTN close. Alright, so we have these components. We are going to place it on top of our frame. So in order for us to put that in our frame, first is we declare them. Okay, that's the first step. Declare them, and after that, instantiate them. So let's instantiate it right here. So you can instantiate it in here or right here, but it would be better if you instantiate them by grouping. So let's say all is or everything is, we have here instantiations. So let's start with the label. So LBL num1 is equal to new JLabel. Okay, so as you can see, you have here different constructors of JLabel. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, polymorphism, method overloading or overloaded constructor. Then it has different behaviors. So we have JLabel. You can actually go like LBL num1 that set text, and then you have here enter number, or you can simply do like this. Okay, so instead of having this one, all right. Okay, another one is let's go and proceed to number 2. So enter a number or enter, let's say we have here enter first number. This is enter second number. Again, you can use this set text method of LBL num or JLabel rather, or you can simply use the constructor of JLabel. Okay, for TXT num1, we have also different constructor of this component. We have JTextField default constructor. We have JTextField column. So this is actually a what we call this one, a size, no, a width size of your what they call this one called text field. So this one is the text. So meaning to say, you have your text and columns. If you want na your text field is an empty text field, you just have to do this. But if you want your text field to have an initial value of 0, you can do this. And if you want your text field to have like the width which is by 20, you can actually do this one. Okay, but for now, let's declare our JText field into by having a 0 as an initial value. Okay, and then let's have the button. So J button. So you have here also constructors, but this time we're gonna be using save, and let's copy paste this one, and then let's have here close. Okay, so in order for us to put this to a frame, we'll need we'll need this what we call layout managers. So layout managers are used to place or position our GUI components into a frame in a different layout. And this is very important for you to know. But I am going to only introduce to you three layout managers. That is for now. So we'll have the flow layout and what they call this one, grid layout. So first, let's start with the flow layout. So by default, automatically flow layout siya. So the only way, I mean the thing that you will be doing or needing will be calling the set layout, okay? And then you just have to call new flow layout. So by the way, this flow layout thing is under java.out. Okay, this one, abstract window toolkit. So now we set that our all of this will be placed in a layout following the mechanism or via flow layout. Meaning, mo atong mga objects or atong mga components will just go with the flow. Okay? So to actually do that, we just have to click add. Okay? Wait, set. Okay, before anything else, nabay question, wala. Paspas ra or nag-follow gihapon? Hello? Hello everyone.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Ananami. Okay, good. So, LBL num1. And then right after LBL num1, we're going to add TXT num1. So, we can actually like pwede natin siya ibutang dire para like parang we know already unsay cluster niya. But this is not always the case. So later on, makita ninyo na unsay mahitabo sa tuang using flow layout. And you have here btn add and then btn close. Okay? So you have here txt di ini. And then txt num I know. This is num2, this is lbl num2. Okay, so after this, when we run this program, of course, by the way, tawago na to ni si my GUI here. So let's remove this one. So tawago na to siya diri new my GUI. Ayan. There. So when you run your program now, you will have here ada yung mga oh, what happened? Null pointer exception. So, pag null pointer exception, don't you worry. There is only one object, probably, that we haven't instantiated. And this is, according sa atuang program, it's Java 32. Meaning, at line 32, there is an error that says, okay, so right away, makita nimo sa line, nagamit ka sa close, but you haven't actually instantiated it. So that's careful ta in copy pasting. Di pang copy paste mo guna ko ang mga codes kanina. So that is why I haven't noticed na ang close time nako wala na ko siya na butangan og instantiation. So when you run your program now, this would give us this thing right here. So kung napansin mo walay atong values sa unsay tawag ani, it's wala siya what they call this one, nag-plus lang siya in that manner, no? So by the way, if i-move around nimo ni siya, it will also follow, kaya siya gitawag og flow layout kasi it will go with the flow. So if that is the case, na gusto ko na initial na ay size ang imuhang or with ang imuhang txt na text field, you put there sa parang initial size niya, and then isa man eh, wait lang ha, saan to pagtungod ni something in ana, oy, wait, so that's flow layout, yan. So dapat in ana yung size sa imuhang sa imuhang frame para in ana iyang plaster. Okay? So that is the ano lang, ano of flow layout. Dapat ang imong frame is inana kadako para inani pod iyang placement sa imong what they call this one, sa imong components. So there is, if that is the case, pwede nimo i-change ang size at sa imong frame, and para dili siya change, actually pwede ka magbutang og set what was that? Pakalimot ko. Set resizable. So reset resizable to false. So you'll just have to make this like, sige, try na to 200 by 150. Kung kaya ba na siya na size. Ayan. So inana siya, and then dili na siya ma-expand. Okay, the only way you can do it is minimize nimo at the same time ma-close, because we already set na yahang resizable, nakaset resizable siya to false. Okay. Anyway, so let's go back to our medyo gamay ra siya. Okay, this should be 200. So that is for what we call this one, flow layout. Okay? So in the flow layout, pwede pa nimo dungagan og alignment. So yang horizontal gap and vertical gap. So when we talk about horizontal and vertical gap, na ay vertical gap within every component. So kung pila ka pixels per gap imuhang butangan, ibutang sa imuhang actually siya pixel, but it's a value na naay space in between sa imong component, na you want na ang space in between the component, kung magtapad si LBL naman o si LBL nam to kay 1, so 1 point na po, gusto ka 2 points or whatsoever, so pwede nimo butangan imong flow layout og 2 and 2. Okay, there is the alignment kung vertical or horizontal. So kani siya vertical or horizontal. So yan, kita nimo na siya dira ang explanation here. So you can have flow layout center. So that is the alignment. You can have flow layout left. You have the right. So values ana, pwede 0, pwede 1, and 2. And then, pwede po siya leading. So meaning to say, instead of ang imong ibutang dra kay 1, you can have flow layout that center, left, or right justified, something like that. And if you are going to run your program now, this will give us like this. So kung tanawon nimo siya naka-left justified na si enter, enter. Okay? And then observe also or notice that naka-left justified imuhang mga imong mga components. So check on it, or without this flow layout something, without this leading something, without that alignment, notice that your program will have in ani. So wala naka-left justified. So that's actually the idea of this one, no? Naka-left justified. Pwede po mo siya i-right justified, depende sa imo ha. Now that is flow layout. So the flow layout has only limited capability in placing all your components or arranging your components. The other one is grid layout. So grid layout naman uses the row and column concepts. Okay, row by column. So if you want na mas dali ang imong pag-design sa imong program, and naka-row and column lang siya. I mean, dali nimo maanuhan na you want to display this one. So, mapansin mo, there are three rows. First row, second row, third row, and one column and second column. So, pwede nimo siya ibutang doon na you have three rows and two columns. Kaya lang, the problem with this grid layout thing is that ang ang behavior niya is kung unsay size sa imuhang frame, i-equal niya tanan size at imuhang components of size na mo correspond sa size sa frame. So, meaning to say, kung sa kadako imong JLabel, imong JTextField, maupod kadako imong buttons. Medyo pangit siya, okay? Pero, pwede nimo usbon imong UI component like in ani ba kadako imong firm and I mean imong firm, yeah, of course you can actually do that para mas limpyo siya sa as you expand your frame. This will give you an really bad what they call this one, UI. Okay, so might as well mo tong mga ubang advice na ko sa inyo is dili mo siya i-resizable. And then, yeah, ang limitation with this one is kanilang yung parehas siyang mga sizes, no? So, which is a little bit pangit. Okay, so actually pwede na to mapagtaan na maagi na si combination of flow layout and grid layout mas mapanayos pa nato ato ang UI. But I'm not gonna be showing you for now sa kana. I am going to introduce to you another layout manager, pero dili siya part of layout manager, but we call it as no layout manager. No layout because we will be the one to position all your components. Now, you will be the one to position asa dapit imuhang ibutang. Again, what ang developing story na to, or developing na skills na to dili is how to develop GUI and at the same time how to actually make your codes to work, no? Meaning you will be writing algorithms in your program, which is magsulat ta karon og himo tag actions. But for now, let's have here null. Okay, so the null means no layout manager is followed. So, ikaw ang mag-decide asa dapit na position, asa na mo dapat ibutang. So, what you can do here is, okay, by the way, you have two options. Either mag-set location ka, okay, which is na siya X and Y coordinates. So, X and Y coordinates. So, if familiar ta sa Cartesian plane, X and Y coordinates, ang value niya is katong quadrant 4. Okay? Nasa quadrant 4 na ang X is going to the right, ang Y is going to the below. So, meaning, every time ang iyahang location is ang X coordinate niya is, let's say, mayroon ka 10 pixels. So, 10 pixels ang location, ang pag-add to ni LBL num1 sa coordinates. And then, sa imuhang Y, let's say, gusto mo ato siya 50, 50 ang iyahang X coordinate. So, if i-run nato ni siya, we would have here, wait lang, okay. Oops, wala lagi nakita. Wait ha, check. Kasi wala tayo size. Wait lang. LBL num1.setSize. So, ano di ay, dapat putanganin mo siya size na, let's say, 20 by 10. Example lang, 20 iyang width, 10 iyang height. So, iyang katason o kalaparon sa imuhang label. Okay? So, there, no? Ayan, Nana siya, enter. So, ato asang kulang ang kuan, 20. So, ibot na to, like 60 or 100 or 120. Tanaw na to if siya. So have enter first. So probably this should be 140. Yan. So there, enter first number. So this is the 10 pixels na x coordinate sa imong enter first number. And then this is the coordinate for y. Kani siya going from here to here. So pag 0, 0 na siya din na part. Okay? Kung this is 10, meaning 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, na ang 0 sa x. Kung imong y is 0, na po na siya din na part. So, like for an instance, ang x coordinate kay 0, ang y coordinate niya is also 0. So, ang location niya would be naa siya sa upper portion sa imuhang, wait lang, yun, no? Nasa upper portion sa imuhang frame. Okay? Now, actually, you can combine this you can combine the set size and set location by just calling set bounds. Okay? So, si set bounds is a combination of, I don't mind that mga parameters, It's a combination of x, y coordinates, and width and height. Daraw? So, we can combine this by, let's say, ang x coordinate nato is 10, and then 10, 10 by 10, and then ato ang width is 160, atong height is, let's say, 10. So this time, our enter first number will be placed there. So you can copy this set bounds right there in your LBL TXT num2. So if you plan that your TXT num2 will position right beside the LBL num1, so the y should be the same, pero ang x will be something like more than pa sa LBL num1. So ang calculation ana would be, okay, this is just simple mathematics, no? Mag-measurement lang ka. Ang calculation ana, since 160 ang width niya, meaning ang kalaparon, para dili mag-overlap, you go beyond this. So dapat naka sa mga 180 or 170, depende sa imuha. Okay, and then ang y coordinates pareha lang. Okay, and then let's say imuhang size is 160. Okay na, pwede ra gyapon sa imuha kung iyang width is 160, it's up to you. And then let's have, or you can make it like 80. No, pwede naman na siya 80. And then ang height niya is still 20. So this will now be, okay, this will now have, ayan. So, gamay lang day ang size niya. So, dako na to ang size, ang height niya. So, ibutan na to siya by 20. So, that is the height. Pwede mo 30, pwede mo 40, depende sa imuha. Ayan. So, that is the placement now of our enter first number and text field. Now, sige daw. Can you assign for LBL num2? Sige daw. Can you assign for LBL num2? Sa iyang x coordinate. Ha?
Sa text o sa
Sa label. Ang label num2, siya sa label num1 tapos tuod sila. Sa amo na tong buhaton na sa x coordinate niya. Same dapat sa LBL num1. Okay, pero yang y,
mas taas kay aron maubos.
okay, mas taas siya, ang mababa, which is imuhang basihan na ang width na pod. Ganina pagpadulong sa x ang width, ang height. Ganina pagpadulong sa x coordinate imong basihan ang width, no? Karon ang height na pod. Para dili mag-overlap si LBL num1 o si LBL num2, kailangan mas larger ang value sa iyang x. Sa x, aroy kasakit sa x. Bitaw larger ang value ni y di kaysa sa width na 20. So, either mag-times 2 ta, like 40, no? Or pwede na 30. Yan. Okay, so tanaw na ka kung same lang gihapon sila or 30, check na to. And then same, ang size niya is, ay ang width niya 160 gihapon. Okay. So, medyo wala siya nag-overlap tanawon pero kung mo na siyang tanawon for TextField mag-overlap siya gamay. So, because wala allowance. So, wala ano ang label at TXT nam to. Pero if try na to sa TXT nam to, Okay, sige. Set rounds. This is 180. And then 30. And okay na siya. So, check na to. So, medyo wala siya nag-overlap pero dito tayo. So, itong times 2, no? Meaning 40. So, 20 times 2 is 40. And then, wait for a while. Doon nga mo? Okay. Alright, so, let's run the program now. And there. So, na allowance gamay, pero if you don't want na ang allowance in anak kadako, it's kamo bahala na. Pero again, at least plus star imuhang code. So, plus star imuhang, 160 na lang nato ni para pantay sila. Though medyo too much ra kayo, no? Pero yeah, that's something you're able to, ayan. So, you are able to position your, what we call this one, your components in a way you like it to be. So, sa tawagan autonomy na ikaw magbuot sa dapit ibutang imong mga. So, medyo kapoy siya, hago siya, but again, take on the positive side na na-develop imong logical thinking. Kasi you will think, no, mag-think man counts, how mo siya pag-position sa dapit. So, karon, let's say, ang position aning add and close. So, karon, kaya mo nang gitawag ka software engineer because you will be the one to, you do engineering in your program. Okay? So, and again, why we do it like we do it like na from scratch, it's because I want you to appreciate the object-oriented principle thing. Okay? So, now, ang add, ibutang na to siya. Sige, kamo daw ang mag-set daw. Can you give me, na dapat diri ang add, tapos diri ang close, nasa center sa tuang frame. So, how would you do that? Sige daw. Kawalan ko kung makana mo. Nangatulog mo siguro yung mga bata. Ani, asa naman itong nagkiat dira sa isa ka balay? Ayo.
Sir, napa si Red?
Namoy bahaw. Sige daw, kamo dira as a group. O sige daw, asa man ninyo i-position karon ang add o say ano niya. Ang say size X and Y muna, sige. Ang say X and Y sa imuhang add. Okay, what do you think is the X and Y for your add? Base sa to ang output or base sa to ang, sige, check. Para ma-estimate ninyo, engineer mo dira ron. So, base sa to ang 180 na X na adere. So, kung mag 180 ta, therefore, dili po na mo position ang add. So, pwede ra na i-follow na to. Kamo, kung ina inyong gusto. So, tama na to ang add. Now, karon how about sa Y?
Agag 20 do, sir.
Tungagan og 20 kay tama kay naman ta ang height nato no is 20, so consistent sa 20 dungagan nato siya mahimo siyang 60. Pwede 60 dako na na allowance. And ato ang size ang width medyo dako kay ning 160, pero i-try nato ha, medyo dako kay na siya ang dako kay na siya lapad siguro kay taas kayo og i-occupy niya. Yan. So, kulang gani day ang iyahang space, no? Between sa ano. So, pwede na to ni siya ibutang as 80. Ayan. And then kani, kung 160 na to kadako, kung saan may katunga sa 160?
80.
Okay, very good. So, and that is your estimation, no? Kumbaga, imong calculation on yan, mathematics, no? You do calculation and estimation, pero exact ato ang ano. So, we have here 180, kani. So, 180 plus, pila total kanino? Which is this one. 180 plus 180, that is, 180 plus 80, pila?
206, 60 lagi, 260.
So, dapat 260 ni. Para ang kasi butang na nato ni siya sa right side sa BTN add na dili mo overlap sa close o yan kung sa save pero kung butang ko na siya ay gamay na di siya I don't know but medyo ano siya kanang dikit kayo, so kani pwede ato ni 70 na lang para di kay siya taas og gap. And then ato ang size pwede ta mag 75, and then 180 plus 75 pila? 255, tama? So para ang atuang plus star is ayan medyo ano gamay 260 na lang. Adi po kayo mula pa si close button sa baka para siya kanang tungod siya dira yan no di ba mas para tungod pero na gap between save and close, which is kung napansin niyo kita ninyo no yan medyo okay ato ang frame, okay atong design, so not that impressive but at least neat siya tan-awon. Okay, so now, okay na to. And then, let's have the third step in developing GUI, which is attach code to controls. So, attach sa codes to controls. Depende sa imuhang unsa na event imong butangan. Imong text field ba, ang label ba. But this time, frequent na butangan na to actions ang button. No? Kung magbutang tag add, i-click na tong add, i-click na tong close, na siya ibuhat to na event. So, I'm going to give you different techniques on how to do that. Okay? First is the usual technique. Okay? So, to actually give or put action to your button, you just have to have, you can simply all this as like etn.set action, set action listener. Add action di. Ayan. So, add action listener. Okay. Now, you'll have here new action listener. So, the action listener is an interface that is going to have an object, a method action event, no, or action performed. So there will be two classes here: the action event and action listener. I mean, actually, dili siya classes but interface ang tawag na to na sila. So, kani siya, pwede niyo ni i-asterisk. Kani, pwede mo ni siya i-asterisk. Yan. Okay, so overriding. So we have just overridden the part of the portion of our action listener, which is katong si action listener. Ang iyang function or method is action performed. So this time, pwede natin i-remove siya. And then we'll do here, let's say double num1 is equal to txt num1 dot get text. Okay, so we need to parse this. So double dot parse double, ayan, txt num1 dot get text. So since familiar naman siya ni JFrame, halos pareha yung implementation. Only that this will not prompt. Okay, so this will be txt num2. So you'll have your double, let's say sum equals num1 plus num2. And then, so you have the option either to use or pwede niyo butang JFrame that show message. So now, katuring null, kani imong null karon pwede na na-root term. Now, meaning, dito siya magtunga sa root term. Pwede siya get content pane. Okay? Pwede sa get content pane mo siya ibutang. Ayan. So, meaning sa tunga sa imong frame, dili na siya null karon. Kung sa null, manggod, kung null siya, dito siya sa, sige, pagkita na to. So, the sum is sum. Okay, so when you run your program now, okay, so magbutang tag 30, let's say 32 and 5. So nasa sa tunga, no, naka-plus star siya. The sum is 37.5 because nasa sa content pane. Okay, kung inal na to na siya class, so 2, yan. Halos pareha pero again, wala siya kay ni center like dapat tira, no? Pero it's up to you. Pwede po na siya pwede po na nimo siya ibutang sa txt or sa button. Ibutang nato sa button yung parent component, button add. So you will also observe here na ang iyahang pag-click nimo pag-add nimo sa number or pag-click nimo save, so iyahang happen. Supposed to be dapat diri na siya. Okay. But it seems like dili man. So okay. It's so okay siya. Kung wala siya nana, try nato sa LBL num1. Or maybe because ato ang frame is gamay. So probably inana ang reason. Ayan, ayan. So, meaning tunga siya sa kay ato ang isa label na mo just kani, meaning sa tunga na siya sa label na mubutang. Okay, so that is why I would advise kung gusto mo na asa siya mo place kaning get content pane, meaning tunga jud sa imuhang adyo sa imong frame siya mabutang no matter what. Bisan asa pa nimo siya i-plaster ang imong frame ngadto sa right side, sa left side, or sa bottom part. Sa tunga yun na siya mag-plaster imuhang command or imuhang show message dialog. Okay? So, yeah, of course, pwede ka maghimo og another label kung gusto ka sa dili ka the option pane like LBL result. So, dungag lang ka dire. Okay? Tangin mo siya dre, LBL result, and then so the sum or there is something like the sum is, yeah. So And then, since na-instantiate na rin mo siya, i-add na to siya right after kay close. Okay, so LBL, let's say result. Yan. Then, tungod siya dapat ni, ayan, tungod siya dapat sa, dire natin butang, 180, tapos, puro mga 90, ayan. And then, instead of, kana atong ibutan la, LBL, result that text, or set text rather, the sum is plus sum. So let's run our program now. So let's say 5 and then 8, 8.5. So you have the sum is may gulay. Okay. Ito 100 and then this is 160 na lang. So, wala siya kaigo. Okay? So, na 8. So, the sum is 13.0. So, nga i-color ni siya og what happened? Wala man nag-color ani. Siguro na siya yung mga na-inherit something na anyway, so that's something mysterious. Even ako wala na ako to siya na-anticipate. Nganong ni color siya. Actually, na-color sa background sa TextField. No? So, that is actually red or fuchsia. I don't know. So, asa ta nag-color dapit na part? Wala man, pero anyway, sige, di na ako makita. I haven't actually, what you call this one? Wala ko nakakita ganina na naday to color, but it seems like working in a mysterious way. Mura siya gugma, no? Lab moves in mysterious way. So probably like that. So that's the first one. Okay, the first step. Ayan. Question so far? Ay, question?
Kinam, sir.
Okay na. So it seems like okay man mo. So wala man mo na lisudan. So nakatry na mo ani. Before?
Sa una.
Okay kaya pala. So
Pero
action,
dili kayo mga kwantiray.
dili kayo,
May pakaya sa baguhan.
o ba? So this is okay, kanina part here is let's say this is sa kanini system.exit, no? So this is the first one na akong giingon sa inyo na this is the first solution, no? First way para magbutang tag event sa tuang program. Okay? So you can actually what you can actually do here is pwede mo ni siya i-convert into the other one, which is kanimang good. I will tell you this one. Kani siya na programming kanya akong gibuhat karon is kuan siya kanang this is not good if daghan ka og let's say button nga in any mang way sa pagbutang og event. Okay? So, meaning to say, every now and then, maghimo ka og nakay na yan. Nakay button, let's say, nakay button for multiplication, nakay button for addition, subtraction, nakay button for modulus, or what, kung basta, yun ang mga button. So, meaning to say, maghimo jud ka og action listener every now and then. So, this time, what I'm going to teach you is by the way, pwede in ani po siya. Okay, wait ha. And then we are going to copy paste na lang this one. Okay, and we'll also do for this one. So para limpyo imong code, so i-this na nato siya. Sige, null sana, kaya wala pa man tayo object. Okay, so okay, this time we are going to implement action listener. So this is mo na ni ang part na di-allow ni Java na naa siya ay multiple parents, no? Multiple inheritance. So let's say action listener. Ayan. So the action listener, pwede ka maghimog object sa action listener, pwede po dili. By the way, if we go over nimo ni siya, nag-error ni siya because si action listener man gud na siya abstract method. Okay? Ang katong abstract method is gitawag na to siya og method without body. Okay? So i-discuss na to na siya pohon, no? Mga advanced object-oriented programming na siya. So in order for us na di siya mag-error, of course, you know this, you'll just have to inherit or override the action performed. So actually, pwede nimo i-type siya right after dili sa gawa sa imuhang my GUI, or pwede nimo siya i-mouse over and then add implemented methods. Okay? And then, right here, then naka magbutang og condition na if that get source, so pwede get action command, pwede get source, pero get source that equals say btn add, and then butang nimo na siya dra, else, of course you do else if, pwede na po else, pero para sure ka na unsa na button, they are going to put here btn close. Ayan, system that exit 0. Okay, so this is for get source. Pwede po din mo siya i-get action command. If example, that gets get action command that equals, so kung get action command ka, dapat ang caption sa button. Okay? You use get action command pag unsay caption sa button, meaning save button. May mga instances kung get action command manggod ka, na instances na sige, pakita na ako sa inyo anyway. So na instances na isa lang ka button imong i-declare pero lahi siya o caption, and later on unsa imong tawagon, get source or get action command. So of course, ang pinaka the best nimong tawagon dito is get source rather than get action. Ang pinaka the best nimong tawagon dito is get action command rather than get source. But again, for this, pwede ka get action command or either get source. Pero tagaan ta mo idea unya later on kung unsay difference yun nilang duha, no? Unsay kalahian nila o kano sa mas nice gamiton si get action command. So now we have here, and actually this one will work only after butangan mo ni siya this. Okay, so this means kasi wala kay, so I will give you 4 ways on how to create action events. So karon kanilang sang duha, and then next discussion na to ang ikaupat, ang ikatulo, ikaupat kanilang sa. So we have here this means it's an object of action listener. So without this, dili mo na siya dili mo gana imong program. So this one is registration of the component to have action event. Okay? So meaning ana, kung sa Bisaya BPN action, i-register nimo siya sa action listener. Okay? Pag click nimo sa button add, i-click to nimo as a user, maminaw. So pag maminaw niya, unsay iyang event, click. Okay, pag click niya, then therefore i-perform niya tong event or i-perform to niyang algo sa unsa iyang napaminaw, based sa iyang napaminawan. So maminaw siya kung unsa na object, and then i-perform to niya kung unsa gisulat nimo dito na codes, right, inside of this if condition, so which is action perform. So again, ang program would do pretty much the same. I mean, exactly the same. Only that lahi lang ang style. Lahi lang ato ang way sa pag putang og action event. So either you follow the other one or this one. All right. So that is using action perform. Now I'm going to add one more. Wait. Kasi nakaset ano man ko dyan. Diyan na lang ko sa katong UI yung gibuhat nato. Ay, lagay ito. My frame. Example lang. Ay, kopyahon sa nato ni. Sige, set UI. Okay, and then layout ano wala. Set layout. Flow layout lang sa nato. We can actually use grid layout. Kanina lang. 3 by okay, so let's say sige na to tiki ano. Adre na lang nato i-run. Di na maghimog another program. So let's say i-call na ko ni my GUI, my frame rather. So new my frame. Oh, wait. Dito na lang nako ni siya i-call. Wait ha. At set UI. GUI. Yun. Yun. Wait for a while. So, right, this one, naka-ano kag mga buttons without declaring an object of button. So, kani, the best nimong gamiton ani is action command. Okay? So, di ba? With just a declaration, with just this one, dili siya pwede get source. Kasi, wala tayo object sa button. Okay? So, na-joy certain, depende na sa imong program, no? So, this one is really impossible for you to use get source because, again, we don't have action to our button. Okay? So, ang pinaka, ni mo na is si action listener. Implements action command rather. So action listener, and then after that, ato tag-add implemented methods, and then so if yan, e dot get source. So try na to get source. Pero pag get source, unsa man ato ang unsa na object, wala kay object, right? So dili pud ta pwede unless magbutang kag object na button. Pero sige, pakita na ko sa inyo ha. JButton btn. Ayan. And then btn equals new button. And then let's say btn dot set text. Wait. String ba ni? I see. Kasi si add na part is only component. So, therefore, btn and then btn dot set text equals to x plus okay? So now, matawag na to siya like btn. Okay? However, sa tuang UI karon, wait, grid layout btn ay okay, diri din nato ni ibutang. Para every time mag-create sa object, i-add niya, okay? So tama. Now, if magbutang ka og let's say okay, ano na tong action ha? Let's say show message null and then btn dot get text. Okay. So, try na to sa kung mugana ba siya. Wala pala tayo action listener. Wait for a while. So, btn try na to butang add action listener this. Okay. And then yun. So, we have so as you can see, ang action listener niya is kanilang si 9, no? Ni Gana, kanilang si 9 na Gana. Kasi si 9 lang ang last niya nabasa na part. Pero kung igawas nato ning action listener, try na to. If mugana ba siya tanan, yun, di na ganit siya. Null pointer, kasi dapat rin siya na part. I hope you're able to understand the objects, though. This is how OOP works. Tanan object nimo dapat familiar ka. So, same, unless imuhan ni siyang i-array, no? Imuhang i-array nimo nimong button. So, another na po na siya. So, is, kung i-array nimo imong button, medyo, wait lang. So, kung i-array mo yung button, another changes na po dire. So, that being said, para dili na nimo ma-avoid nimo na siya, atong himuon is katong first na to na option, which is new J button, which is katong x plus equals. And then, okay. Oops, di ta maka-action listener diri, no? Wait. Tangan na nato siya. Kato na lang gyapon. Pero this time, wait na nato siya i-array. Now, para we will be using get action command instead of get source. So get action command that equals, ayan, and then you have here, let's say 1. Obviously, pwede din mo dira get text 1 or something like katong 1 imong i-capture. But i-try sa nato ha if this one will work. So we'll proceed with other. So wait. Action command. It does not work. One, ayun, 2. Sa 2 lang siya ni Gana. Wait. What happened? Less than 9. Or dugay lang siya mo ano. 1. So this should work because we use action command here. But sige, allow me to finish this one. Baka we just missed something. Ayun, 1, 2, ayun. So nabaliktad lang atong ano no. So 1, 2, ayan, 1, 2. So now you have here, I mean because of get source, get action command, we're able to make it work na. So of course, obviously, magbuntag pagka 3. So that's the purpose of get action command. Kasi kung get source na siya, the last part lang ang mag-work, katong 9. So right out, ayan, nanatay 1, nanatay 2, and we also have 3. So along the way, using get action command 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you can actually use that one. So if you have buttons that has no, say tawag na, object, okay? I mean, we have we have object for button, but we only have one object for button, but we replicate it to make it more buttons. So we have only one button, but i-replicate nato siya into many different buttons na lahi iyahang display through loops. Ayan. Okay, so question so far? My question? Hello? Wala? Okay, so again, I have just shown you the GUI so that you're able to appreciate the idea of the idea where a particular object-oriented principle is applied. Now, as you can see, there are actually a lot of OOP principles applied in GUI. You won't appreciate it if nag-drag and drop ka. I mean, you can never appreciate OOP pag nag-drag and drop ka. Okay, so since again, object-oriented principle pa, I have shown you here, I have shown you that these principles are present to the components, to actually the things that we do starting from the beginning, from the moment na naggamit tag G-option frame, nagamit ang vector, nagamit og array list. From that moment na nagamit ato ng mga classes, naana dito ang OOP. Okay? Naana dito si encapsulation, naana dito si inheritance, and of course, polymorphism. So these principles, these three basic principles are actually present in Java since the very beginning we started to learn this language. And then I have just shown you na diri ni siya na part na apply. Okay? And yun ang about the OOP. So next meeting nato we'll discuss advanced OOP, and at the same time we're going to discuss advanced UI components, no? So with recording na or recording of, I would suggest na unta na you have the laptop, no? Pwede mo magtapok together just like what you did right now. I-project niyo sa screen sa inyong TV or whatsoever, and then after that you can use your laptop to follow and repeat whatever I am going to write. Okay? So I will not hold you for long. It's almost 4. And any questions so far? Hello everyone.
Okay na, sir.
Okay na? Sige. Nahilom lagi mo. What happened?
Sir, dili pwede sa NetBeans nga to sir.
Ha?
NetBeans.
As I've said, you won't appreciate the object-oriented principles pag drag and drop ta. Di ba? I've told you this one. I've told you that one before. Nang anong unsay purpose kanong from OOP, from nag-scratch ta from OOP. Again, there's no one stopping you from using NetBeans drag and drop. Actually, sa Eclipse na aman po siya. I-install lang mo plugin. Again, no one stopping you from using it. What I am just giving you is, what I have just shown you is, again, para ma-appreciate ninyo na asa dapat na apply ang OOP. Asa dapat, ano daw na ay OOP? Unsa din ang OOP? Kasi you can never appreciate the OOP kung drag and drop siya. Kasi you will not be the one to work on with objects. Everything is pre-given. So, katong nag-drag and drop ka sa NetBeans, nakasabot ka sa generate na code sa NetBeans. I mean, almost everything nasabi mo. O ipalitan sa imo ha, ano ni mo, ma-change ni mo. Kana akong question.
Dili.
Okay? Tapos, ano ba mo na, kanina concept encapsulation, kanina concept inheritance. So, yun, no? Again, di-show lang, gipakita na ako sa inyo ha, we tried GUI from scratch only because I want you to appreciate the idea of object-oriented programming. Kasi speaking of, nagstorya tayo about OOP, and then, if still, wala gyapon yun na-appreciate up until now, so, what if, no? What if ipakita na ako sa ila how this OOP things or how this OOP stuff is actually doing its purpose in terms of software development nganong na-adjud ni si OOP. And that being said, there, no, mao to yung nakita ganina na mga about the GUI is one best example of why OOP is there. Parang if wala OOP, then kanina mga UI components, it's useless. It's actually, it will not come into realization. Kumbaga, makita ninyo sa visual programming, VB.NET, C#, nag-drag and drop ka, everything that you do there is kana na level lang is na-develop nimo siya, pero kung tanaw nimo to mag-drag and drop ka sa sa Visual Basic, di ba? Pre-given ang codes. So basically wala ka naghimo na og button. Then ang button lang na ibutang dito is mag-set ka giyang mga properties, mag-set ka kung sa imo ibutang na code dito, but then again nawala we don't see, I mean, behind it is actually because of OOP. I mean, ang influence sa itong anong nana sila, it's because of object-oriented programming. So, mo nang idea sa nganong nganong you will need to know object-oriented programming. Okay, sige. Any questions so far? Any concern? Kumustang tapok-tapok na to dira? Unsa may napamoy concern? Hello? Hi guys.
Okay na sir. Di madungog
Okay.
sila.
Kiat ang mga dagway ninyo dra, no? Sige. Anyways, that would be all for now.